What's going on, hustlers? Back at you guys with another video. Thank you guys so much for all the growth on the channel. So the purpose of this video is to help you determine whether or not you want to go with products or you want to go with services for your government contract and business, right? And this is actually going to be very unbiased. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and try to pitch one or the other to you just because I primarily specialize in products. Like, there's definitely pros and cons, benefits and downfalls to both. So this is just going to be a super transparent video. And this is also going to be under the assumption that you are a small business with maybe not a limited amount of resources, but it's not like you have a whole bunch of capital that you can throw around. Like, this is under the impression that let's say you've got 10K or less. Once you have 20K or more to divest into a business starting up, you're not really super limited in capital. You do have a lot of flexibility. So this is under the impression that you're a small business with $10,000 or less of liquid cash or line of credit, whatever you want to do, right? So without further ado, let's get into the video. Damn, my phone is on fire right now. Products versus services. So product side, you are either going to ship the item yourself, which is going to happen about 80 to 85% of the time, or you can have a company drop ship this item on your behalf. I'm so sorry that my phone is just on fire right now. And then in the event that you decide you want to have a company drop ship, it's going to be a company that you've either taught your mill standard 129 markings and labeling to, or a company that's already familiar with mill spec packaging, right? But primarily you're going to be shipping the item yourself, right? Whereas with services, there is no shipment required, right? But if you're a small business, you're probably going to go the middleman strategy and have somebody do the work on your behalf, right? So somebody else performs the work. So the main thing that I'm getting at here is with services, you definitely can delegate a lot more. You don't even really have to have a team. You could be a one-man show and just delegate everything to an entire company. Whereas with products, you're going to have to do the bidding, the packaging, the shipping, the invoicing. Now, with the, like Uncle Ben says in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So if you are going to be able to delegate everything, right, and somebody misperforms that contract and they do it on your behalf, that company that fucks up, it comes back to you. You're the scapegoat, right? Whereas with products, you're just entirely self-reliant. You're the person doing it if you're shipping everything, right? Let's talk about the next thing, payment, right? So payment for services is done after the conclusion of the service, right? So let's say it's a tree cutting service and it takes a month to do this whole project, right, for this whole contract. So you're working and you're incurring costs and overhead to run the business and fulfill the project. And then basically for a month, you're not getting paid. Whereas with products, it can take industry averages about 28 days for payment. You can get that expedited. Again, remember, I'm going to be transparent here with you guys. I'm not going to bullshit you. But you get paid at the receipt of the items, right? So industry standard is 28 days for payment. If it's a 3-month contract, right, they might pay you a little bit at a time, or they might pay you all towards the end, right? But payment typically comes in a lot faster when you're doing products versus services. Let's talk about the next aspect of it, right? Submitting your bids on these items, right? Or on these contract opportunity solicitations. So when you first start out, if you are just incompetent, submitting a bid and dibs will take you, worst case scenario, 10 minutes. You really can submit 40 to 50 bids a day. And then even if you're proficient with proposal writing for services, that can still take you easily a whole day. If you have a good team, you can probably pump out 2 to 3 solicitations or 2 to 3 proposals per day, right? And that's if you've got a good team of proposal writers and you have capital to divest, right? But initially, if you're just in the startup phase and it's just you, best case scenario, you're doing 1, maybe 2. And that's if you're gifted and you're using Chat GPT and you just really understand, the market that you're in, you might have somebody helping you, right? That if you're gifted, you're doing 2 a day, right? So you can submit significantly more bids for a lot more contract opportunities in the product space as opposed to the service space, just because submitting bids on DIBS is entirely data entry based, whereas submitting bids in SAM or any other proposal writing service, that is something where you have to put together an entire like slide deck of proposals. Now, let's talk about like the packaging and stuff, because that's one aspect that is apparent for products but isn't for services. So for products, you do have to package and do all your labeling and all that good stuff, right? Whereas for services, not really. Like, yeah, you have to yes, you do have to make sure that, let's say it's a hazmat janitorial job. Okay, yeah, sure, make sure everybody has the proper PPE and all that good stuff, but you're not really, like, you don't have like DCMA, which is the Defense Contract Management Agency, coming to your facility and then inspecting, your packaging and your quality assurance processes when you're doing services, which is something that could happen in the product space. We get audited every now and again, and it's just like the nature of the beast, and we just have to make sure that all of our packaging is super sound. So that's something that you don't really deal with on the service side. This video is interrupted to bring you a brief message from my first sponsor, Lucy. Lucy is an all-in-one government contracting CRM software, so it allows you to do your market research, it allows you to track your bids, sales orders, purchase orders, invoicing, packing slips, all that good stuff. And then it also has contact information for all of the different approved sources. And then it also classifies all of the solicitations by whether or not they're inspection origin or destination, FOB origin or destination, whether or not the approved source is bidding on the material, and what kind of certifications you need, and what kind of set aside is the contract, right? Or the solicitation, right? So because Lucy does all those things, you're actually able to expedite your process so much. And the reason for that is you don't have to be clicking through solicitations to be able to go and see like, oh, do I need an ISO cert? Do I need a JCP cert? Is the approved source bidding on this? With Lucy, you just drag your little scroll bar all the way over to the right of the screen when you're looking at the solicitation number, and then it literally tells you all of the requirements. So you can make that assumption as to whether or not you want to perform this contract way in advance before you invest time, energy, and resources. And then you can also track your pipeline, right? So you can find the solicitation you like, and then you drag it to your bid board. And then you drag it to your bid board, you click on the solicitation, you look at the approved sources that are there. You can reach out to the contact info in the approved sources. And then once you submit your bid, right, and you've created your file, and you can add all your traceability and your emails and your bid summary confirmation, and then you submit your bid, right? Then you can drag that even further along in your pipeline, and then once you win the contract, you can drag it to the awarded aspect of your pipeline, right? So it really is just a super good all-in-one service, and it just expedites the process so much more, and you're already able to just outperform so many people in terms of like your output, doing business with DLA as opposed to like products or services, which we talked about earlier in this video. But when you have a tool like Lucy in your back pocket, you're basically able to like 6x, 7x the speed at which you move. So you're able to just bid on so many more contracts, or maybe you bid on the same amount of contracts, but your bidding is a lot more precise, so your win percentage goes up. So that is my sponsored, that's my sponsorship for the video. So if you want to sign up for your 7-day free trial with Lucy, use the link down below, use my code, helps me out, helps support the channel so I can pay better videographers and editors and stuff like that, so I can make better content for you guys. So if you're interested in your free trial with Lucy, click the link down below. Anyways, back to the video. So DLA purchases 3 million line items, so 3 million different products that you could sell to the government, whereas SAM on the services side, they post more contracts. I believe they post 30,000 contracts a day, whereas DLA posts 10,000 contracts a day. However, it could be that a lot of these contracts are for the same service, just for different entities, right? So you have the opportunity to perform on a lot more different items when you're doing products versus services. Like for instance, it could be IT staffing, and it could just be like a whole bunch of contracts for IT staffing just for different entities. And then you're like, you have nothing to do with IT staffing, so you can't really do anything with that, right? Whereas with DLA, yes, there's going to be repeats of products, but for the most part, it's a lot of different products in different product markets. So out of 3 million different items, and I know 3 million is the absolute minimum. It's probably closer to like 4 and some change, but with 4 million different line items, you have a lot more opportunities to provide different things. So you're dealing with less competition, right? So that brings me to my next point in terms of like how competitive each of these markets are, right? So DLA, they award 10,000 contracts a day as well. And they awarded 370,000 contracts in fiscal year 2023. And then they awarded those 370,000 contracts in fiscal year 2023 to only 8,500 companies. So it's a very underserved market. Each company is getting an average of about 400 contract awards. Now, granted, an average takes the highest and the lowest and then finds like not the middle, because that would be the median, but it finds the mean, right? So you have to consider there's so many people who might win 1 or 2 contracts, right? And those people who only win 1 or 2 contracts in fiscal year 2023, that gets averaged in. So there's a lot of really big companies that are winning 600, 700, 800 contracts with DLA per year. So it's just the same companies over and over. And 51% of these contract opportunities, either nobody's bidding on them or only one person is bidding on them, right? Whereas with Sam, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I know the numbers for how steep the competition is or how many of these things go underbid. I do know that overall government contracting is an underserved industry. However, if you just use YouTube as an SEO, search engine optimization, right? If you just use YouTube as SEO and you just look up government contracting, you're going to see 1 million times more videos about providing services than you are about products. It's literally only me and 2 other channels that talk about DLA on YouTube. And if any of them are watching this, I'm going to surpass you guys. I'm coming to take your lunch. I'm going to absolutely blow you out of the water. One of the channels, I'm already like very close on their heels. And the other one, I'm just going to significantly outperform them within the next 6 months. So this is going to be the biggest channel on YouTube talking about DLA. Maybe that rubs some people the wrong way. I don't really care. Competition is good. You should be happy that I'm here and I'm in this space trying to take your lunch, because then you're going to be more motivated to provide better content, which means everybody consuming our content as creators is going to get better information. So honestly, it's just good for the marketplace that I'm now here to shake things up. But yeah, if you look on YouTube, you're going to see way more videos about middleman strategies and service contracts and all that good stuff. More people know about that than people know about products, right? A lot of people don't even know you can do products. When people think of products, the entire extent of their like knowledge in terms of selling products is like Amazon FBA or like eBay reselling, right? So a lot less people know about this, and I think this is going to become like eBay and Amazon reselling in the next 3 to 5 years. So it's kind of just like an IPO. You got to get in early. You got to get your bread while you can, establish yourself as a giant in the space. That way, once it gets saturated, nobody can really fuck with you, and you're kind of like bulletproof, right? Now, I'm kind of flip-flopping between like a pro for each and a con for each, right? Now, one con of services is sometimes you might need insurance, right? Workers' comp insurance for, whatever equipment that you're using, right? Whereas with selling products, you don't really need insurance unless you have other workers and you need to insure them for like OSHA or something. But if it's like you, your wife and your kids, or you and your partner, or you and like a business partner or something, right? You literally can just operate out of like your office or your warehouse, and you don't really need to insure it. Like there's no law saying that you do. Whereas for service contracts, you have to be in compliance with all of the governing laws for like whatever body regulates those kinds of services. What I mean by that is like you've got to comply with like all the laws in your state if you're going to be doing like landscaping work. Or if you're going to be doing like janitorial work, you've got to comply with all those laws. If you're going to be doing like a logistics contract, like trucking, like you've got to comply with all those laws. Whereas with products, you don't have to do that. Oh, another thing that just came to mind. You can also request your tax exempt reseller form from your state, meaning once you apply for that form and you get approved for it, you can then purchase goods from resellers within your state, tax exempt, so you don't pay tax on those transactions. So that's a benefit. I know you can get a tax exempt form for services. I don't know how it necessarily works though. Like, I don't know if you're exempt from tax if you have a service conducted by somebody in the same state as you. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how that would work if it's like out of state. But those are kind of my pros and cons. Those are kind of the things that come to mind initially for me that I would consider when determining whether or not you want to do products versus services. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Not only am I looking forward to your success, I'm absolutely sure of it. And click the link down below to join our Skool community for $19 a month. It's $20 a month. I literally am putting out pricing guides in there. We're doing weekly calls. The community's helping each other. We're giving out different softwares and all that good stuff. So for $19 a month, click the link, join the Skool community. It's growing super quickly. We're already well over 200 members at the time of this recording. So can't wait to see you guys in there. Cheers.